Greetings, Admirals. This is the Sarcasm Detector coming to you from on board the bridge of the Krenim Imperium Warship Tier 6, the fourth ever warship to be released in Star Trek Online. This one comes from the Year of Hell lockbox, which was released with Season 10.5. Just gonna take a quick look around the bridge. It's only one room interior, which is typical of your lockbox factionless ships. Not much to see, just the basic amenities that come with all one room interiors. I find the view screen to be slightly interesting because the stars in it are panning ever so slightly to the right. And the only other thing of interest I find is the Great Wall of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff here in the back, which are also replicated here in the front and various other locations on the bridge. So let's get a little bit more in depth on the ship. We're going to be jumping on to the outside and taking a good long look at it. A first look of the Krenim Imperium warship from the outside. My first impressions of it is that it looks like half of some kind of mole creature. You can see here it's got the head and the blind eyes and some kind of digging claws out here. So it looks like it's, like I said, some kind of mole creature. I'm just going to take a look around. The visuals I have right now are the basic default visuals that you get when you unlock the ship itself. We're going to take a little bit more in-depth look a little bit later and try on the different shield visuals that I have. But before that, we're going to take a look at the stats of the ship itself and the build that I have going on. The masteries include the typical warship masteries, which are accuracy, severity, critical chance, and some increased damage for kinetic and all damage, and potentiality, the starship trait, which in my humble opinion and quite a lot of other people in the know is probably one of the worst starship traits in the game. It gives you a stacking bonus whenever you are not using your bridge officer abilities, which is pretty much counterintuitive to how you want to be playing the game. But enough of that, let's go on and take a look at the stats of the ship. Small crew complement. Smaller crew, of course, is always better. I have her up to 18.6 power transfer rate, which is fairly decent. The defense bonus at full throttle will get up to approximately 100. There we go, a little bit over 100. Fairly decent hull, 62k, which is more hull than cruisers had before Delta Rising was released. Still kind of low for the current meta, but it's only a tactical ship. It's fine. Fairly decent shields. And again, the resists I have here are basically from my skill set, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes. Crit chance and severity. Go up to full throttle again so I can show you the turn rate. Not bad at all. So the build I have going here, of course, you do not have to be using the same weapons that I'm running right now. This is just a what I'm currently running. It's not the best out there. I am planning on changing all my weapons in the very near future to damage 3 pens epic if I can, because it turns out that with the new changes that have been released with season 10.5, the damage mod is actually really good nowadays. It's probably in most situations better than crit D. There are exceptions to that, of course, but as a Fed tactical captain, I believe that I would probably be better served by running damage 3 pen weapons. Of course, the Iconian 3-piece set with my Spire Warp Core, running an RCS with EPS, Plasmonic Leech, and a Tachyokinetic Converter for just a little bit extra turn rate. This one is not really needed. You could probably run something else if you feel a little bit squishy. I would probably recommend the console from the Samsar in its place. Of course, 3 science consoles. These are the particle gen versions. This is a particle gen ship. And 5 exploiter. Sorry, these are locators. My specialization, Intel primary and pilot secondary, they're all filled out. And for some reason, even though I have everything filled out, I have a spare 6 points. Not that I'm complaining. The traits that I'm running: Ablative Shell, Beam Barrage. I am just testing this thing out. It doesn't seem to be that good. It seems to have a very limited range of about 10 kilometers, Coalition Starship Tactics, which basically is per teammate of a specific career that's within 10 kilometers, you get a certain bonus. So if there's an engineer within 10 kilometers, I'll get an extra shield regen. There's a tactical within 10 kilometers of me, I get a little bit extra flight speed and defense. Elusive for defense, Fluidic Cocoon, of course Inspirational Leader and Intense Focus, Particle Manipulator because this is a particle gen build, Point Blank Shot, and that's it. Starship traits. I have Supremacy in here just because emergency weapon cycle is not working. They broke it with the recent patch. Proof to Pedal to the Metal, Reciprocity. This is emergency weapon cycle. Once they fix this, I will drop Supremacy and go with this one again. And of course, all hands on deck. Here we have crit severity, crit chance, armor penetration, and of course auxiliary power configuration, offensive. Now over this, you can see at 91 auxiliary I get 4.6 and 4.6, all damage and accuracy. Give that a little bit of a buff. Comes to about 5.8, so it's about 6 point something % bonus when I'm at 125 auxiliary. Right, the stations. Not really a conventional setup. So just running a single copy here of Beta, FA3, Chemo 2, and TAC Team. I have FA1 in here just in case there's a little bit of lag. I can run this. I don't have any need for anything else. Override subsystem safeties 2. There's 2 copies of emergency power to weapons 1, directed energy modulation 2, and hold together 1, which is probably one of the best heals in the game currently. It is a pilot skill, so it fits right well on the ship. One interesting thing about the ship I'd like to point out, it does have both an Intel and a pilot hybrid seat. In the science seat, there's science team, subspace vortex, and tractor beam repulsors. This is all for doing exotic damage. Now, if you find that the ship is a little bit squishy, what you could do is probably drop the subspace vortex for a transfer shield strength in its place, or even drop directed energy modulation for emergency power to weapons 3 in this spot, and put in a engineering team in this ensign slot right here. The roster. So Space Warfare Specialist, this is actually the variable slot. You can put whatever you want in there. I have 1 ZMOC and 1 TAC team con officer in there, just to give reciprocity a little bit of help. They aren't really needed, but if you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of aggro and you're not proccing reciprocity that much, these 2 I find to be a little bit helpful. Since we're only running a single copy of beta, which gives me more uptime on that particular attack pattern, I'm running Agent to Rule for the heals, Marion Francis Dulmer for a little bit extra boost with directed energy modulation. This one is not particularly needed. You can swap him out for something else. And of course, Gragamal to turn the tractor beam repulsors into a pull. Very important. There's a lot of cues out there where you do not want to be pushing. It's preferable to pull or group the enemies together than to spread them out. Ship is very similar to the Nandi. They are both warships. Nandi has 1 extra bridge officer, which comes in as a ensign, as opposed to having the extra lieutenant here in the Krenim Imperium warship. The Nandi seems to be a little bit more fragile, doesn't have as many engineering abilities and console slots, but it is a little bit better at the science abilities since it has 4 science slots and can run 5 science bridge officer seats. In terms of DPS, they look to be about even. The Krenim ship might be just slightly ahead, just for the ability to be able to run override subsystem safeties, which gives a nice spike bonus to your damage. Let's going to take a look at all the different shield visuals that we have. So next up, I am going to be showing you a couple of action runs that I did in a run from a little bit earlier, just to give you a impression or a general idea of how the ship performs. We'll be right back afterwards to give the final opinion on the Imperium Krenim Warship Tier 6. Just a very quick ninja edit before we get into the action. I actually forgot to tell you about the console that comes with the ship. Shall highlight right here the timeline analysis sensor grid. When you fit it, it just gives you a very basic passive accuracy bonus to cannon weapons. That's not the interesting part. It's got a 90-degree targeting arc, and it will act like a double beta stack on your target. It'll give you them energy damage resistance, debuff, plus a reduction in defense, and it'll actually slow them down as well. If you keep the pulse on them for about 10 seconds, you get some additional debuff effects, as you can see right there. So, as you can see, I have the next ship ready, the Zal Heavy Cruiser T6, but that's going to be in the next video, so stay tuned for that. We'll also show you the two-piece bonus that you get from having both consoles of the ship. But for now, much delayed, the action bits in Azure Nebula Advanced.
Our time here is limited. Stay focused, plan your attacks, and save as many ships as possible. Every loss is critical for my people. Warning, ship is under attack. Shields failing. Left shields failing. Warning, ship is under attack. Shields failing. Right shields failing. Hull integrity below 50%. A Hapax warbird is escaping. Shield has failed. Right shields failing. Rear shields failing. A Dalon warbird is escaping. A Talis warbird is escaping.
We are now approaching the end of the video, but before I give my final thoughts on this ship, I want to thank my good friend Valkafex from the STO community stream and the STO Continuum for donating this Krenim Imperium Warship Tier 6 to me for the purposes of doing a review video. You can catch Valkafex and find out more information about him and other members of the STO Continuum at the STO Continuum community website at stocontinuum.com. Back to the ship. I really hoped you liked those action videos. As you can tell, she is very nice, a really high-end performer. Probably one of the better ships in the game right now. I personally would give her a 9 out of 10. I would give her a perfect 10 out of 10, except for the starship trait that she comes with, which I find to be a little bit useless. Other than her looks, which I personally don't like, but I don't really notice when I'm flying it around in combat and blowing stuff up. She is a really good ship, very flexible. Again, a nice 9 out of 10. If you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe, and of course check out all our other friends at the STO Continuum. Check out the STO community stream with Valkafex.